Killing a cat in ancient Egypt was punishable by death, even accidentally. Even just once was enough to end your life. In the ancient city of Bubastis, in the heart of the Nile Delta, the cat was more than just an animal. It was considered the embodiment of a living goddess. Her name was Bastet. Tens of thousands of pilgrims traveled a long journey, coming here every year just to worship her. They sincerely believed that this single cat held the fate of all Egypt in its soft paws. Women tearfully asked her for blessings for children and happiness, and even the most powerful pharaohs bowed their knees before her in awe.
If you want more videos like this, like it, and don't forget to subscribe.
Bastet began as a fearsome lioness, the wild protector of the pharaohs in the desert. But during the Middle Kingdom, in the 16th century BCE, a miraculous transformation occurred. The Egyptians no longer saw a beast. They began to see a mother, a protector of the home, love itself embodied in a small animal. Pregnant women clutched a cat to their belly, feeling the pulse of life within and the purring of the animal without. At sunset, mothers placed cats by their cradles, believing they protected their children from dark forces. Field and home, city and hut, everywhere, the cat became a symbol of security. Everywhere, its striped silhouette meant, here life is protected. Here love lives. Here, the goddess lives among us. The first reason is simple: survival. Without a harvest, Egypt would have disappeared, and rats would have devoured everything. That's why a cat was more important than any wealth. It didn't just catch mice. By guarding the grain reserves, it preserved the life of an entire nation. The second reason was invisible, hidden in the darkness. Poisonous snakes and black scorpions lurked in the mud houses. One bite, and life was over. Mothers shuddered every night, hearing rustling sounds in the corners. But the cat heard it first. The cat saw in the dark. The cat jumped from the roof to protect sleeping children from an invisible enemy. It was magic.
The third reason is fertility magic. Cats bore many offspring, so women prayed to them for healthy children, and pregnant women wore amulets for protection. But the main reason was religion. The cat was considered the earthly embodiment of the goddess Bastet. To offend the animal was to insult the deity herself. The Egyptians believed that every cat was a sacred bridge between humans and the world of the gods.
Hundreds of sacred cats lived in the temple of Bastet in the city of Bubastis. They weren't just animals, they were priestesses, goddesses. Every day, people brought them food, fish, meat, milk. They brought expensive gifts, gold jewelry, ivory figurines, incense. But most importantly, they brought their prayers, their hopes, their tears. Women asked the cats for protection. The sick asked for healing. The childless asked for children. And everyone believed their prayer would be heard through the soft purr of a cat. Once a year, a day arrived that changed the life of all of Egypt, the great festival of Bastet. People from all corners of the Nile Valley abandoned their businesses. Imagine this scene. Cities stood empty. Peasants left their fields. Merchants locked their shops. Everyone, as one, flocked to the city of Bubastis. They say hundreds of thousands of people gathered there. Silence gave way to noise. The riverbanks shook with the beating of drums and the ringing of music. People danced until they dropped, sang songs, and drank wine. This was not a boring temple service. No, this was the loudest, wildest celebration of life in the entire ancient world. But the death of a sacred cat was a tragedy. When the goddess passed into the afterlife, the entire family plunged into deep mourning. Women shaved their eyebrows as a sign of grief, shaving off a symbol of beauty. After death, the cat was mummified like the pharaohs. Special embalmers wrapped its body in linen shrouds, layer after layer, with prayers and incense. Toys depicting mice and fish were placed in the sarcophagus along with the cat, because the Egyptians believed that in the afterlife, the cat would hunt, play, and live as before. They also placed grains, food, and small figurines of servants, everything a goddess might need. In the city of Bubastis, there were catacombs underground, subterranean cities of dead cats. Tunnels, kilometers of tunnels filled with sarcophagi, hundreds of thousands of mummies. Scientists would later find more than 300,000 mummified cats there. It was a cemetery of goddesses, a sanctuary for endless life. But faith turned into a market. Demand for mummies grew, and they began to be sold as powerful amulets. Pilgrims bought them by the thousands, giving away their last pennies. It became a gigantic business. And then the dark story began. There weren't enough cats for everyone. Traders began making counterfeits. They took rags, stuffed them with sand or rat bones, and sold them as sacred relics. People paid pure gold for ordinary trash. It was a great scam, hidden under the guise of religion. Protecting cats wasn't just a tradition, it was a strict law. The penalty for killing an animal was death, even if it was accidental. There was an incident in which a Roman soldier accidentally killed a cat. An enraged mob of Egyptians immediately surrounded his house, demanding justice. The people were ready to tear the soldier to pieces. Only the intervention of his commander saved his life. If a house burned, the first thing they did was carry out the cat, throwing away gold and property. That was the law. The life of a sacred animal was valued more highly than wealth or even human life. But cults die. At the end of the 4th century AD, a man named Theodosius I ascended the throne of Rome. He was a Christian. In one fell swoop, he outlawed all pagan beliefs. Temples of Bastet were closed. Sacred cats were driven from their sanctuaries. Priests went into hiding. People were forced to conceal their prayers, and gradually, with each generation, the memory of the cat's divinity faded. For 2,000 years, the world had forgotten that the cat was a goddess. The world had forgotten that one small animal held the fate of an entire civilization in its paws. But have you ever looked into a cat's eyes? Those deep, golden, slightly enigmatic eyes? You feel something. Something mysterious, something elusive. It's an echo of that ancient faith. 2 millennia have passed. Religions have changed. Empires have fallen. People have forgotten hieroglyphs. But they have not forgotten that a cat is a special creature. Somewhere deep within us lives the memory of the goddess Bastet. When a cat looks at you with that sideways head, it's not just an animal. It's an echo of the temple of Bubastis. It's an echo of the prayers of millions. It's a reminder of a time when people knew they lived alongside magic.